Hello again to all the warriors for justice out there who are righting wrongs and upholding our greatest American freedom, the right to an unfettered and unlimited trial by jury of your peers. I'm your host, Rafe Foreman, for this podcast brought to you by the original Trial Lawyers College. Hello out there, TLC listeners, and welcome back. I know it's been a little bit of a sabbatical there for the podcast, but today we have my good friend and our president, John Sloan, the president of the Trial Lawyers College. Welcome, John.
Well, thank you, Rafe, and thank you for all that you do with this podcast. And you and I just had a really good time up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we did.
With one of our regional seminars there that was a screaming success. So we're all excited, as you know, to be able to get back together in person and work on the horse and work on our cases and work on our skills.
Really makes a difference to be able to get back in person. I just can't tell you how many people said how much it meant to be able to be in a room with our friends or new colleagues and instructors. So it really made a big difference.
Yeah, you know, whoever would have imagined that we would appreciate something that 3 years ago would have seemed so simple and so natural.
Right.
And now it's just such a blessing to be able to do.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I never would have envisioned it.
I agree.
But yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Well, John, we're going to talk to the audience about our 3-week program that we have coming up. It's June the 4th through the 27th, and it's in Montezuma, New Mexico, which is about 3 miles north of Las Vegas, New Mexico. And applications must be turned in by September 25th or maybe 28th. I'm not sure about the date.
Yeah, it's midnight on April the 25th.
Midnight, April 25th. So please get your applications in.
You know, the 3-week college just has an incredible impact on the lives of those that go there and give it their all. There's so many people who have said to me how it really changed their law practice and literally changed their life in many, many positive ways. And I'm talking about made them better lawyers, made them better husbands, made them better fathers, made them better sons and daughters, spouses. It really is something that I'm very proud of as a member of the TLC board. I'm excited because we've got incredible staff coming. I mean, we really try to have the best of the best be there to teach the 3-week college. And you know, and I know that a lot of people look at that and say, oh my gosh, 3 weeks, how in the world could I take that much time away from my practice and from my family? But 99.99% of the people that go through it get to the end and go, how in the world could I ever thought that I shouldn't take that time away, because it just repays for the time in spades.
I agree.
When you and I went through, I know when I went through it was 30 days, and I think it was still 30 days when you went through, or it might have been 28.
Yeah, I think it was 28.
And I looked at it and said, I just can't be away that long. But man, at the end of it, I just was so happy that I had invested the time.
I agree with you. When I went, when I was thinking about going, I didn't see how I could possibly take off. And when I got back, I didn't see how I could possibly have missed it. You know, I was just so thankful that I was included in the 2002 year that I went. some people who don't know anything about trial lawyers college, like myself, my very first program was the 3 week or 28-day program. I didn't know anything about psychodrama. I didn't know anything about TLC. I just knew that it was a college that was 28 days and it was out in the middle of the wilderness. That's about all I knew about it. And we don't want to give away the farm, but what do you think we can share with a new listener as to why they should come and what they can expect?
They can expect to be able to invest the time in themselves, to know themselves, because, as you know, our philosophy is that you really can't do a proper job of representing others until you know yourself. And we also advocate that you don't have to emulate anyone.
Right.
That by being yourself, you're allowed and enabled to relate to others, especially to jurors, but first of all to your client, so that you really know them and so that you really know their history and their wants and their needs. And you get to a point where you're able to communicate those to a juror effectively, so that they see that, even though there may be stark differences in the way that we are brought up and we look and we sound, and when you really boil it all down, we're all the same. We all share similarities and more similarities than we do differences. And that's regardless of race, religion, creed,
right,
upbringing, area of the country we live in, all those things.
Well, and you said something there I'd like to unpack a bit, John. You said it starts with getting to know yourself and who you are. And that seems like a nice stopping point for why do we have psychodrama. That's exactly why we have psychodrama. It's a tool that we use to help you get to know yourself on a deeper level. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I would agree with it 100%. And, the problem that a lot of us have as lawyers is we've been taught that what we need to look at is facts, and what we need to talk about is the facts and the law.
Right.
And leaving out the human emotion that is evident and in every case that we handle. If you don't get in touch with the human side of your cases, you're not going to be able to relate that to a juror. Jurors don't decide cases on what the cold facts are. They decide cases on the emotion, on the backstory, on the human side, and then they make the facts fit whatever they've connected with emotionally.
Right. I like to say, John, all that stuff that they beat out of you in 3 years of law school, we reinstill back in you in 3 weeks.
That's really true. The way, the enjoyment level that I got out of practicing law after having attended the Trial Lawyers College just increased substantially, because I don't know, the human part of it, of relating to my staff, relating to my partners, relating to other lawyers that worked in the office, and especially relating to my clients. It's almost like I was a machine going through the practice of law before I went to the college. I was lucky enough to have some success, and I had done some good things. I've been practicing law for 18 years when I went to the college in 1998. But when I got back, it's like I was a human being that was practicing law and taking care of people.
I agree with you, John, but I've had people ask me the question, why do I need to know about myself before I can know my client? And my attempt at answering that is because once you know yourself and how you react to certain situations, it gives you a connection that you might not have been aware of with your client and also with the trier of fact, the jury. And so it's real important for you to experience as many of your emotions as you possibly can because it gives you empathy and connection points with your client. That's my theory.
Well, and I think that you're absolutely right. And then to go one step further, we have the ability through the things that we learn at the college to actually become I want to say a virtual witness to what our client has been through.
Right.
So that we can relate to them and to not only that person, but also what that person has been through on a whole nother level that we wouldn't have the ability to do but for the skills that we learn at the Trial Lawyers College. Does that make sense?
It does. I was going to follow up on that because it's ringing my bell. I can still remember scenes and scenarios from 2002 because of our methods that were imprinted on me. I will never forget them. I mean, I could give you an opening statement on a case that J.R. Clary worked on without any preparation because the story was so compelling and I saw myself at the story. I wasn't at the scene of the construction accident where his client got electrocuted, but I can tell you I can still smell the burning flesh.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. I can remember in 1998, Bart Costello working on a case where his child client got hurt by an escalator.
Yeah.
I mean, how many stories that we've been told related to us by some friend that's a lawyer can we actually recall the details of? But when you see it reenacted, as we learn to do through the Trial Lawyers College, it sticks. And isn't that what we hear people talk about all the time about the retention level that jurors have, and that,
yep.
If you, and I can't quote the percentages, but it's very low after 24 hours. But here you and I are remembering things that happened 25 years ago or 20 years ago,
right?
That we witnessed in a reenactment of a case.
And so surely a jury can remember it for 3 days. They're going to do their deliberation. And that's the point we're trying to make. This method literally imprints the story of another on you.
Exactly. That's right. And you fit, it's not just facts that are being related to you. You feel you feel the emotion that person experienced in the moment, in that incident.
Yeah, I agree. And, it really teaches us a lot of how juries backfill. If you leave a blank or if you leave something unclear, they're going to fill it in by their own life experience. And you find yourself really experiencing that, and you can either accept it or reject it, but you at least are on a level of heightened awareness that, wait a minute, did I just superimpose my experience on this story, or was that part of the story? And I just think that's important for us to learn to do.
Absolutely, I agree.
And so then, after we get to know ourselves a bit, we start learning the trial skills. And that's the great thing about our flagship program. If you go to a regional, you may learn one skill like cross or one skill like closing or voir dire. But at the 3-week program, you get immersed in all the trial skills, from discovering the story all the way to closing argument and everything in between. And you get individualized attention from faculty that are steeped in this method for years. And where else can you go to a program where they teach you how to know yourself and try a case from soup to nuts in one program? I'm unaware of any of them.
Well, I am as well. And in addition, Rafe, don't forget that you get to work on your own cases.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a fake fact pattern.
Right. You get to bring cases that you are already familiar with and work on those. And I can remember to this day some of the cases that I worked on at the Trial Lawyers College, and what a difference it made when I came back to my office and continued to work those cases up to trial.
Right. So we spend some time knowing ourselves. We spend some time teaching you the method, and then we spend some additional time giving the students an opportunity to practice the method. They've learned it. They've watched others perform it, but they also get the opportunity to experience it for themselves in breakout classrooms. So I think it's important for people to know we're not talking about a class of 60 people. We're going to break you into smaller groups where there's maybe 8 to 10 people in a small group with 2 faculty members. So it's about a 1 to 5 faculty to student ratio, and that's where the real learning and experience is gained.
Absolutely. And the goal being that once you've gone through the college, you can go back to your office and practice the same things that you learned there at your own offices. And in addition to that, I like to say that what we really are a member of once we're a graduate is the largest and best law firm in the United States.
I totally agree.
And I say that for a lot of different reasons. One reason, and some people doubt this, but this is the absolute truth. There are people that I went through the college with and people that I've come across at TLC since that time that I know better than people I've known my whole life.
Same here, John.
And I feel comfortable that there are a dozen people that I could call on Sunday morning and say, oh my gosh, I'm in a bind. Could you be here tomorrow morning? And they'd be there.
I agree. I bet you can't name a state where if you needed to take a deposition, you couldn't immediately find somebody offer up their conference room that's a TLC graduate. I bet you have connections in every state, because I know I do. And the part is, it's not just you and I that have those connections. Everybody that comes to the college is also welcome. I can't tell you how many people have used my conference room for depositions and how many have returned the favor to me. I mean, it's just so great to be able to have that help.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we've got a wide variety, both geographically and with types of practice of local working groups where our graduates get together on a Friday afternoon or Saturday morning or whenever it's needed and help other lawyers work up their cases to get them ready for trial. And that just is an invaluable tool that we enjoy over here in East Texas. And I know Dallas has got a big working group and Houston's got one, and they're all over the nation these days.
That's right. And that's just some of the fringe benefits that come along with this program. But we are going to what I believe is the coolest place we've ever had, the Trial Lawyers College, just in my opinion. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. And I was skeptical. I had heard about this place, but then you're the ones that described it for me. And I thought, well, okay. I mean, it must really be something. And, it's in one of the prettiest places in America. And it's the facility is just amazing. It's hard to describe. New Mexicans call it the castle.
Right.
And yeah, it's a building that kind of looks like a castle. I know it was built originally as a hotel, and but it's in an amazing setting up on the side of a mountain. It backs up to public land, so there's all kinds of hiking trails around it. There's a stream that runs through it. There's natural hot springs that people can get in. And Rafe, I was there last week, and I didn't know this, but I mean, people from all over come to enjoy those hot springs that are right there on the campus of the United World College.
Yeah, it's very cool. They have the Dome Light Observatory where light is reflected and refracted inside this dome building, and it is just moving art is the only way I can describe it. It's just something else.
It really is. I'm really looking forward to being in a session in that domed area. It looks like it holds about 80 folks.
I agree.
I think it'd be amazing to be in there with the acoustics the way that they are.
I totally agree. What a great place to do a group session with everybody that's at the conference. It's exciting. It's also very handy. You can fly into Santa Fe or Albuquerque and take interstate all the way to Las Vegas, New Mexico. You can get there in about an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 45. There's plenty of hotels. There's 3 colleges in Las Vegas, New Mexico. So there's a lot. If you arrive early and you want to get a room, there's plenty of opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And, you know, that downtown area in Las Vegas is historic and is utilized a lot these days to film movies. In fact, when you and I were there, as I recall, there was a building that had Roswell painted on the side of it. So they were using the city square in Las Vegas to represent Roswell, New Mexico.
Right. I can't wait. I'll keep watching so I can try to find that episode, because they made they had some drapery or something that reconstituted the buildings that were to be Roswell. And I'd really like to see how that looks on film, because you and I saw it live when we were downtown. That's pretty cool. This place is steeped in history too. Billy the Kid is reportedly to have stayed in the old hotel that's on the premises here that joins the president of the university's residence. And so I just think it's a fascinating place that has a lot of spirit and a lot of opportunities that we've not had before.
I agree with that. I'm kind of a history buff, not a real serious one, but that whole area, as you know, has been occupied by Native Americans for probably before from the BC era. Right. And right down the road, if you drive from Albuquerque or from Santa Fe, you'll go over it's not a tall pass, it's a small pass, but it's an area where the Apache Indians would fight off their enemies. The Navajo has a large reservation that's very close to Las Vegas, and back in the day, they spent quite a bit of time invading the residents of Las Vegas and helping themselves to the swine and the cattle.
Right. It's not too terribly far from Chaco Canyon, which is where the Anasazi, who may be the oldest inhabitants of New Mexico, are located. And so, like you say, it's been a crossroads of people for tens of thousands of years.
Right. The Santa Fe Trail comes through there.
Right.
So, and as many of our listeners probably know, Santa Fe celebrated its 400th anniversary a couple of years ago. So there's certainly a lot of history in that area.
So why would somebody, we've got their attention, they're thinking, well, I'd like to go to this, but really, what's in it for me? I mean, we got to answer that. Everybody wants to know what's in it for them.
Sure.
What do you think?
Well, one thing that I've noticed about our students, Rafe, is that They're all lifetime learners.
Right.
They're all people that are striving to be the absolute best that they can be for their clients. Many of them have attended every seminar in the book where they sit there out in the audience and they listen to lawyers talk about how great they are and how great they do on cases, and how, if they really have a serious case, what they should do is not try to handle it themselves, but what they should do is send that case to the speaker so that he or she can handle it and do a great job. What's in it for our students is we want to arm them with the tools and the ability to do it themselves.
Right.
We want them to be able to go and stand up on a Monday morning and announce ready, and go into battle in a courtroom and be equipped and confident enough to kick somebody's butt.
I agree.
The bottom line is we can be touchy-feely but that's what it's all about. I mean, what it's all about is doing a great job for our clients. And that's what the Trial Lawyers College equipped me to do, and that's what it equipped you to do, and that's what we still equip our students to do.
That's right. And I've got a practical thing that's what's in it. For if you were going to get 40 hours of CLE credit, it would, at 6 hours of conference, it would take you 7 trips to amass 42 hours of CLE credit. And so that's 7 hotels, that's 7, sets of meals for 3 days, or for 2 days, that's 7 sets of flights. You're going to get 40 hours approximately of CLE credit from this 3-week course. Plus, I mean, you're going to have years of carryover for your CLE. And so that's just food for thought. I really believe that the value is understated. Everybody wants to know, well, what's the value? This is really almost a priceless experience, and the value is too great for us to do justice to here on a podcast.
Yeah. Now, Rafe, you're doing some of that lawyer math. Now, the last time I think I saw what somebody got as far as credit for being there all 3 weeks was like 128 hours of CLE credits. So
yeah, I understated it.
For 40 hours a week.
Yeah, for 3 weeks.
Yeah, for 3 weeks. So,
thanks for correcting that, John, because that's right. Wow. Well, we've had a podcast about the 3-week college, about Montezuma's Castle. What's our wrap-up comments we'd like to make today, John?
Well, I encourage everyone to attend this course. And, I put my money where my mouth is, because I've had 7 of the lawyers from my firm attend it. And I've got one of the lawyers that is an applicant this time. I'm hoping that my son, who graduates in May, will come and be an intern, work there. And I'm going to be there, and you're going to be there. This is something that we believe in. We're not just on a podcast promoting it. We believe in it, and we live it, and we practice it, and we want other people to have the benefits that we've enjoyed.
That's right. Where else are you going to have an opportunity to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and hike to the top of the mountain with the likes of John Sloan? I don't know.
Well, and
but that's worth the price of admission right there.
Rafe, we haven't talked about the cafeteria at that place. Oh my!
You're right.
It's got those Cholula glass sculptures hanging up in it. I mean, it's one of the fancier places I've ever been.
I will tell you, they told me when I was there that those chandeliers are insured for $3 million a piece. And so if that's any indication as to the food quality, let me just tell you, the food at this place is unbelievable. You won't be needing to go to town.
No.
And the accommodations are nice. The Denver Mattress Company just donated those big, thick 14-inch mattresses for everybody to sleep on. You'll be very comfortable. This is not Spartan accommodations. This is first class all the way.
That's right. Nobody be roughing it. They'll all enjoy a good night's sleep and a good 3 good meals a day and a good day of learning.
Well, my final word is to please everybody consider coming to the June 4th through the 27th 3-week program at TLC, located in Montezuma Castle, 3 miles north of Las Vegas, New Mexico. And the reason is, selfishly, John and I are going to be there, and we're going to learn as much from you as you learn from us. So please don't cheat us out of another learning opportunity. Thank you, John.
You bet, Ray. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
You bet. Thank you for everything you do, and happy trails and happy verdicts to all. We'll see you in Montezuma. Thanks again for listening. To sign up for these TLC events, go to www.triallawyerscollege.com and select Register for our course at the top of the menu page. For more episodes of the original Trial Lawyers College podcast, subscribe to us on Apple Podcast or wherever you already consume podcasts. Do you have a topic of discussion that you would like to hear more about? Or are you interested in volunteering to be a guest on the original Trial Lawyers College podcast? If so, please email me at warriorforjustice@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening.